I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Lobo Tiggre, CEO of Independent Speculator. Thanks for joining me today.
Happy to be back.
Of course. And the last time we talked on camera was at PDAC. You were still using the name Louis James at that time. For those who may not be caught up, can you explain what's going on and why the change?
Sure. I know it sounds a little fishy, but it is what it is. I have gone out on my own now. I was with Casey Research for almost 14 years, and I wrote under the pen name of Louis James. And I was just sort of beginning to go out in new directions at PDAC. But the hallmark of my work, for people who know me, and the new website you can see, it's integrity, diligence, results. That's our tagline. But the integrity comes first. And people who know me, I hope, see that that's how I want to do business. And so if I have a new business that's about integrity, full of transparency and that sort of thing, I can't write under a pen name anymore. It just doesn't work. And my real name is a little bit colorful, but it is what it is. So I decided to go ahead and come out of the closet, as it were, and just tell the world, here it is. That's all there is to it.
There we go. So we're here today at the Sprott Natural Resource Symposium in Vancouver. You mentioned it's going quite well for you so far. How's the mood? What's the response like?
The conference mood overall, I have to say, is fairly subdued. People are not jumping with joy, and that's not to be, no surprise given the retreat. 2016 was so exciting when it looked like the market was coming back. We suffered through 2017, 2018. It just seems like it's dragging on. But for me, this is actually a very good time. Under my previous employment with Casey Research, I was not allowed to invest in the things that I wrote about, and I was required to sell all my stocks when that happened in 2015. A very, very painful thing for me. But what it means is I've been out of the market for a number of years, and now I'm on my own. I have my own business. I can put my money where my mouth is, which all of my readers have always told me they prefer. And I like it. I think we're headed for a major bull market in the resource sector. And I want to be long. I want to participate, not just write about it and watch other people making money. So I think it aligns my interests. I think my readers like that I have skin in the game with them, and I want to make a bunch of money. And I have money to invest. I haven't been able to invest for years. And now that I can, everything's on sale. For me, this is great news, and I understand that if you're all in or you've been patiently waiting for the bull market to get roaring again, I understand that's difficult. But buy low, sell high is the formula, and I'm so happy. I'll give you one quick example. I was required to sell stock in Pretium Resources, Bob Quartermain's uber high grade discovery here in BC. I was forced to sell near the bottom in 2015. That was my biggest position. It was a painful thing to have to sell. And then this year, I'm starting out on my own, and they had scary news in the first quarter. There were some disappointing results for some people, even though it was still in the ramp-up phase. And the stock went on sale almost back to where I was forced to sell it. So I was able to get back in, almost at the same price. I was so happy. I know that it was difficult for people who owned shares and didn't want it to go down. But for me, it was a wonderful thing to be able to get back in again, where I was forced out. And by the way, despite the way the year's gone, I'm up on that stock this year. So I'm happy, and I'm looking to deploy more cash. And of course, people can sign up at the Independent Speculator to find out exactly what.
So you've got a shopping list, you've got companies that you're looking at. I imagine these are companies you've done due diligence on. How do you decide when is the right number to jump in at?
Well, of course, there's a right number. If something has made it through my due diligence process, and it's true, I had a shopping list to start with, and I like to go and kick the rocks myself, as the geologists say, before I buy. There's so much that you can't tell looking at financial statements or the company's PowerPoint. Management's never going to tell you about all the little problems that they have, or the big ones sometimes. So you have to go look. Fortunately, over the last 14 years, I've gone to see so many of these projects, I've been to the areas. I know a lot of what I already need to know from any of these. But as far as a right price, there isn't. There can be a great price, and then gold can sell off, or copper, or whatever, and it gets even cheaper. So I'd say as a floor, there does come a point in a true market meltdown, like a 2008 style situation, where things just get stupid cheap. And at that point, you don't really care if it could get cheaper or not. If something is so vastly undervalued, it's a screaming buy, you just buy and you don't worry about that. We're not at that point now. So yes, there's the potential for volatility. But this is one of the things that Doug Casey taught me over the years, is that you can use that volatility to your advantage. So if I look at something and I like it, it makes it through my own version of Doug's 9Ps, right? And I'm ready to buy, and I see a price that I think fits my expectations. Well, I'll bid under that price on the market. And if you have a crappy market, I think is the technical term for where we are right now, that's great. I can usually go and bid just under the bid-ask spread, and I'll get filled. Somebody is tired of it all, they'll sell. And then if it goes down after that, I'll buy a second tranche. I won't buy everything that I want all at once. I'll go and I'll buy a first tranche, get an initial stake in the play, and if I'm fortunate enough to get a second chance at a lower price, then my cost basis is even better than the one I like. So I will pick, is this a good value proposition? Am I willing to pay this price for this stock? And if the answer is yes, I'll start the process. And then if I can add to it below that while the story continues to be good. Of course, if they have bad news or disappointing results or something, that's something else. But if the company's delivering and it's just the market that's fluctuating, then I will average down. I will lower my cost basis. Of the 8 stocks in my portfolio right now, there's only one of them that I haven't been able to do that. It just keeps going up and up.
Yeah.
But the rest I've been able to do that, and I'm happy to do that. I liked my initial entry point, and my average cost now is less than that. What's not to like?
Yeah. So even after you decided to invest, get into it, it's still quite a measured process of moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's building a position. It's not just, I like this, I'm buying.
Yeah.
It's building a position at the best price I can.
Okay, so going back to, we're sitting here at this conference, I know you like to talk to your subscribers, and you mentioned you've been having people come to you already. What types of questions are people asking you? Are you seeing any themes emerging that people are wondering about?
Sure. Well, first off, I have to say it's a great thing that I can even have these conversations now. Under previous management, my prior employment, I was banned from talking to subscribers because I might accidentally give people individual investment advice, which is verboten. I think I'm smart enough not to do that, but it was a blanket policy. And if you came up to me in the hallway and asked me to, a question or talk to me, I'd have to direct you to the desk, go talk to them, and they'll submit your question in writing or something. So I'm really happy to be able to talk to the readers again, and many of them I've known for years. So I have to say, a lot of the talk is really like a homecoming or something, right? It's old friends coming up. How are you? How's it going? It's great, and we can talk. And some of them, I remember their children, and now they're in college now, and things like that. So it's wonderful to be able to reconnect with old friends. In terms of markets and things, it's not a representative sample of the broader market. The kind of person who is a reader or has been for a long time, I think they're pretty educated and they understand how these markets work. I haven't had anybody come up and wringing their hands or wailing about how bad it is. It's more like, this is what I'm buying. What are you buying? Or when is uranium going to come around? That sort of thing where they are engaged, they are aware of what's going on. They want my take on what might come next or how I'm playing it. But so far, actually, no wailing and gnashing of teeth.
That's good. So you said in the past, and we were talking today about how it's not the greatest market right now, good for you, good for other buyers, but we're heading toward the next good phase in that overall super cycle. So can you map out where we are right now and kind of how long it may take to get to where we are going to?
Still very early stage.
Very early.
Very early stage, and I think that's great news. Yes, so I do think that we are in the next major bull market cycle, and I do think that it's still very much at the bottom. We're still starting. I do believe the price bottom is behind us. We haven't seen the lows of 2015 revisited, but these things don't tend to be V-shaped bottoms. They tend to be U-shaped bottoms, and so it takes a while for that to begin curving more noticeably upwards. This is great news for people like me who are still buying, looking for new places to deploy their cash. In terms of timing, anybody who tells you this is when it's going to happen, don't listen to them. Run the other way, fast. But I'm highly confident it will happen. I think it's going to be a multi-year bull market. And I think that there are specifics here that are extremely bullish. Now, the caveat would be if my mentor Doug Casey is right and the Greater Depression is around the corner and you exit the eye of the storm, all these things that he's been saying. If that happens, obviously that's going to be very bearish for industrial minerals of all sorts and many, many investments. And the precious metals in that kind of scenario would take in a hit as well initially during the liquidity crunch before they take off. But absent that, crazy as it seems, it does seem that the powers that be have restarted the global economy. It is recovering. The emerging markets, tremendous demand coming online there. All of this is very bullish for the commodity story overall. So I do believe that we are coming out of the bottom of the U. I don't know exactly when it starts heading up in a more exciting way, but that's coming. And this time here at the bottom of the U it's how you buy low, sell high. It's the time to begin building your positions while we're at the bottom. And I think it's going to be one for the record books. It's not going to be a little blip or a bump. I think it's going to be a mountain. And specific areas that we've talked about, like the new energy paradigm and all the minerals that go into that, you're probably going to ask, maybe we can just segue to that. I think that's going to add extra oomph in those areas. I'm bullish all commodities, but those in particular, I think there's going to be a spectacular run. Very positive.
Just to close out, we've got all of this trade war stuff going on, just Trump comments, just left, right, and center. How does that fit into the picture? I feel like maybe especially for gold, we would expect to see more upward momentum.
Yes.
But we are not.
Yeah, I have a theory on that. You're right. Whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump doesn't really matter. Pro or against, you have to see that there's increased volatility, geopolitical volatility now. He's changing things. And for good or for bad, change tends to upset markets. And we've seen more volatility in the markets. So with higher volatility, why isn't there more safe haven demand for gold? Why aren't people fleeing to safety there? I think to some degree we are, but also there's a specific aspect to this. This is my theory. I don't know this is true. I'm not going to try to sell you something. This is just a thought I have. And that is one of the main focuses that Trump has is China. And the Chinese are very sensitive to markets. If they think things are going to go down, they have a tendency to liquidate immediately. They move. They don't wait. They don't want to be the last one left holding the bag. And China's a major source of gold buying. So if you think this trade war, if you're Chinese and you think this trade dispute could get really bad and could affect your business, you stop spending, you close the circle the wagons, close the doors, bar the windows, and that impacts a major source of buying. Now, Chinese, they don't buy gold out of fear. That's savings time. They get gold. They see gold as wealth. They see gold as prestige. They see it as a place to, like real estate, where they put your savings. So when things are bad, they tighten up, they stop spending, they go to cash. When things are good, they buy gold. Right? Whereas in the U.S., if things were really bad, we might buy gold out of fear. So it's kind of opposite. And we'll see, because absolutely what's going on in the geopolitical stage, on the global economic stage, this should be very bullish for precious metals, and yet prices are going down. But those are defined by paper traders in New York. And the Asian trade, I think, may take a while in coming. But what I will say is the good news. Whether I'm right or wrong, gold's not going away. And when it comes back, and if things get truly volatile, when that fear trade comes back on, and the flight to safety, it should be spectacular for precious metals.
Okay, well, as usual, we'll wait and see.
We will.
We'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much for coming. It's great to have you as usual. Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Lobo Tiggre.